Hey. Thanks for coming back to listen to part two of our back to school staff meeting for the 2018-2019 school year. I do appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Professional growth. Please make sure any new activities that you took part in this year are in SID before August 31st. That's the deadline. That's the timeline that this particular year ends. And if it doesn't fit in the timeline, we automatically dismiss it. So please make sure you update anything you need to in your professional growth area. Also, you can check your professional growth by logging into SID and then clicking on the matrix button, and it'll show you exactly how many points you have at this time. So a good thing to do here as we return to the new year. Okay. Schedules. PE with Mr. Seabrantz, Mondays and Thursdays. Music with Mr. Pearson, Tuesdays and Fridays, and then again we'll alternate on Wednesday. Counseling with Mr. Spees will be on Mondays and Thursdays, which is great. Mrs. Bowen will be here on Wednesdays as she has in the past, and then speech will be determined here in the next day or two. So bear with us on our speech schedule and exact time that Mrs. Reno will be with us, okay? Resource, we have two people this year, which is fantastic. Mrs. Jarvie will be here all day, every day, and she will be located in Mrs. Koshner's room. And then Mrs. Bergman, I'm sorry, Cami, Bergman will be located next door, and she'll be here in the afternoons all day. She'll be here in the afternoons every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then again, we're so pleased to have Miss Tima back, Miss Schneider, and they'll do what they've done always, which is a great job of helping us with numerous things, but their number one goal of being here is to work with kids. So we'll get those schedules situated here in the near future. And then we welcome Amber, Miss Disming, and she'll be here all day, every day, which is awesome. And her number one goal and primary focus will be, again, working with kids. So they should be in your room helping kids or doing something with kids. So I appreciate that. Let's maximize their abilities and the opportunity that we have them while they're with us, okay? Student files, if you want to look at your student's file, you sure can do that. Those now are all on Laserfish, which is through the use of technology. So if you want to look at your student files, just stop in. Mrs. Cook or I can help you get logged into Laserfish, and you can scan through any files that you need to there. On PowerSchool this year, we're adding icons or images, and so when you open up a particular student's page on PowerSchool, you'll see their picture and their name, and next to that there'll be some small images or pictures, and those images and pictures then tell us, either they have a medical issue, possibly like an IEP. We might get to the point where we put a little band instrument if they're in band, or maybe a basketball if they're in basketball, but that's something new that the district's added this summer, and I really think it's going to be a quick and easy way to reference some really important information about our kids. So you'll probably notice that in some of your kiddos when you've logged into PowerSchool and looked at them, okay? Personal cell phones, again, let's be great role models for our kids. And while instruction is going on, obviously we really don't need your phone ringing at your desk or vibrating or whatever. So please just have it put away wherever it needs to be. The kids' phones shouldn't be ringing in your classroom. They shouldn't be texting. So vice versa, we shouldn't be doing those things when kids are in our room. So if you need to respond to with your cell phone, no problem, but please do that either, like I say, during music or PE or recess or, after school. I'd ask you to tell your families that if there's an emergency, I've told Holly the same thing, not to text me or call me on my cell phone, but to rather call the office directly. We all know service isn't the best in our building, and if there's something of that nature that needs to be communicated to you, please call the office number, and then Amber or I will immediately find you and make sure that you get into contact with whoever you need to be in contact with. But please don't have your phones out and about when students are with you in your classroom, okay? I do appreciate that. And if you have questions, let's talk about it, okay? Thank you. Evaluations, we'll again have the formal evaluations. We'll have the walkthroughs. Hopefully, again, we can possibly have you guys observe each other, grow from each other, watch people in other buildings through the instructional rounds or learning walks, and But honestly, the best way to grow is to observe others and then take the great from them, and they can take the great from you, and then we are all greater. So, but evaluations should be similar as they have been in the past. Technology, we've got Chromebooks again for 3rd through 8th grade. That went really well last year, and procedures and plans will be about the same for this year for those things. We have iPads for our little people, and we do have the cart in the library. So if you need iPads and you're at the upper grades, you're welcome to use those. We just need to communicate or ask. Make sure that when you go to get them, they're there. So use those as you can. And then again, chargers. We've only got 1 or 2 extra chargers, so but we'll try to train our kids to, it's their responsibility to charge them at home. And then when they come to school, they should be charged, okay? But we can talk to those students about those issues when they come next week, all right? But thanks for using the technology as a tool. Again, it shouldn't be a toy. We don't want our kids to view it as toys. We want it to be a tool to help enhance our learning and academic growth. Schedules, I shared the schedule with you. Hopefully you received it via Google Doc. And I kept them exactly the same as they were last year as far as math and reading and social studies. I went through everybody's lesson plan from the last week or two and took the times and activities that you had down, and that's how I made the master schedule. So unless you really have a huge reason to switch something around, I need you to probably use what we have, and because I know Mrs. Jarvie and Mrs. Bergmark are looking at those schedules, and when they're planning, kids and what they can do and help with, those are important. So Mrs. Callahan will be with us again on Thursdays. She's an awesome resource, has got great ideas, highly engaging activities, and so let's please maximize her again as we've tried to in the past, because technology is the way of the world, and anything we can grow from her would be awesome. The duty schedule will be shared again, and those are so important that you're there and on time, and I'll do my best to divvy out them and make them as equal as possible. And then obviously, as I have always tried to do, I'll cover as many things as I possibly can. But I also can't do everything at the same time, which sometimes I try to do for us, but we'll go from there, okay? So we'll share those and talk about those next week. Recess, we need to have 2 teachers outside. We've got really nice numbers in our, K4 and then our other times of days. So 2 of you will be outside, and we're either looking at maybe some walkie-talkies, or I do ask you at this time to take your cell phone with you. And if you need to communicate with the office, or we need to communicate with you, we can have the cell phone kind of as an emergency communication piece, but we'll talk about that when we go over our standard response protocol issues and things that we have here. So outside, please spread around, please move around, cover all areas. If we have kiddos that are, having difficulties and we know about that, or we've talked about them, please be, within reach, so that you're close and they feel safe, and they know that we're watching them and supporting them, and then just deal with the issues the best they can. And again, what happens at recess should stay at recess. We don't need to have a problem in kickball and then have it last 5 minutes into, science class, or vice, what I'm talking about. So address the issue, and then once we come in, we come in. If they need to come to the office, then that's fine, and I'll take care of, whatever I can do to help support you in the issues and turn it into a learning experience. I'll do that as well. But I appreciate you being outside, and we'll go out every single chance we can. So morning hall duty, we'll meet in the gym, then we'll go to class, and just like we did, we need people out and about in the hallways there to start the day off, but it worked out really well. But once they enter your room, then I need you to follow them into your room, okay? There might be other teachers out in the hall waiting for their kids, but if your class is in your room, I don't need you out in the hallway visiting with another staff member, because if we're not around and something happens, that's not a good thing. So please, please, please be supervision number 1, friendship later, okay? I appreciate that. Really important dates just quickly. Wednesday night, we're going to have open house. We're going to go from 5:30 to 7. We won't have any food or any major meetings. We're just going to make it a general open house. Mrs. Poland will try to meet with the 6th grade parents and talk about some math and so forth. But otherwise, it's just a general open house, and I appreciate you being there, and it's a great night and exciting to see everybody back. So band and music, we'll start those on Friday. and just kind of chip away. And Mr. Meyer can visit with us about exact plans as far as band, and Mr. Pearson and music. So, but those classes will start Friday. Library will start that next Monday, not the Thursday or Friday, but on that following Monday, you can take your kids to the library. Miss Schneider will be ready to go, and we'll get library rolling. Wednesdays, PLCs, the first and thirds will be again at Northwest. The second Wednesday, we'll have staff meetings. And then that fourth Wednesday, just bear with us. We might do Google Hangouts. We might travel. We might just, we'll see as we go, okay? Please put Thursday the 30th down. K5, we are going to the State Fair. We're having the hot lunch at the State Fair. And it'll be another great morning like we've had in the past. So I'll get more information out there on that very soon. The buses will run like they have. We'll talk about busing with our kids early next week, about expectations. I have a bulletin board up at school with the expectations, and so, but the buses will be there. Junior high sports, we'll have those again. Usually on Wednesdays they don't practice, so everybody goes home at that 2 o'clock time. Our take-home Tuesday folders, I passed those out, and it was kind of a rough draft number, so if you're short or if you need more, just don't panic. We have more, and we actually ordered a couple more boxes or packets today. So we want those going home on Tuesdays and coming back on Wednesdays, and that should be the expectation whether we're a kindergartner or an 8th grader, okay? Recess, the kindergartners will go out to their area, and we continually try to add new things to those areas for our kids. The first day, if we can all go outside, if you need to use the restroom and take turns, I'm good with that, but let's all be out there. And however you want to go about getting the rules and expectations to your kids, I'm going to let you guys decide. I do have the slides that you should have access to about the swings and the slides and the tires and all those things. So you can either talk to them outside about them as a group, or you can show the video in your class. However you want to do it is fine with me, okay? But again, we need to show them and explain to them and teach them how we want them to play on the equipment, okay? Videos to watch. We received an email from Safe Schools, so there are a couple videos that we all need to watch before August 31st. So please look for that video or that email, that came from Safe Schools, and make sure we log in and watch those videos. On SID, please make sure your phone number, your address, your email, your husband, your wife, any contact, any emergency information is on there. Okay, we need that as soon as possible. Field trips, we'll get dates to you when we know them. Please read your morning email. Okay, I try to send one email every day, but that email is very important, and so it has dates and times on it, and I need you to read that when you either get to school or maybe before you leave for home. Lunch duty and lines, again, we'll do like we have. If you're on lunch duty in the gym, please leave your class in line and go to the gym. Your colleague or partner will watch your kids in line. The monthly calendar I'll try to share, and we do have middle school websites, and I appreciate you guys keeping those up to date, okay? RTI meetings, we'll decide next week when we get together exactly the best day for those. Masking tape, if you put it down, don't leave it there all year. You guys have been great about taking care of your room, so I appreciate that. I'll get locker names on our lockers for all our kids, so everybody will have a home there. And then I do ask that, obviously the teacher's lounge and both storerooms are for staff only. And I'll put some signs on those doors probably for our kiddos to remember that, okay? In the staff handbook, I need you to log on to the, GI Northwest website. You can look at it. I would highly encourage you to read it. And then that last page needs to be signed and handed in. We also need you to sign and hand in the driver's document, which we've done each year the last couple years, and we all do that. So whether you're a para or myself or Amber or a classroom teacher, we all sign the driver's document, okay? And if we can do that by Friday, that'd be great. Mr. Spies and I will be developing the counseling schedule, and we'll get that to you, okay? The emergency response information, this is the main piece of our actual staff meeting, and I'll go over that when we meet next week, okay? School improvement, we'll be doing that as the year goes on, and then in February the people are coming to see us, okay? Our goals, real quickly, routines and procedures. Number 1, please, the first 6, 7, 8 days, developing relationships, and then we'll talk about morning meetings, the playground, or the Pledge of Allegiance, and those, okay? And lastly, here's a little video. Have a great year. It's going to be awesome, and I appreciate all of you. Have a good year.